This is Bait, life outside the federal witness protection. Hi, it's Suze. Welcome to tonight's episode of Keep the Bad Guys Away. Hey, this has been a bad guy day from hell. I mean, I spent most of my morning out computer shopping. I had to buy a new computer because the one that I just bought at a pawn shop down in Harlingen, Texas, somehow got cyber hacked to the point where I couldn't even get on the internet. I mean, there was no point fixing it. I already know it's the Joint Terrorism Task Force. They hack my crap all the time. That's just the way it is. So anyway, I had to buy a new computer, and then I had to fight with Senator Dianne Feinstein's office, a United States Senator for California. I asked them for help, and then they said they'd help me, and I sent them all this stuff, and I'm arguing with their office in Washington, I'm arguing with their office in San Francisco, and then down in Los Angeles, and whatever. And basically what it boils down to is that they said that they wouldn't help me. Wouldn't help me, wouldn't help the kids, wouldn't help the cause, dude. I'm telling you, my whole entire family's missing. They've probably already been murdered. The murder is probably actually sponsored, unfortunately, by the government, but it looks like that may be the case, and I can't get any answers, and I can't get any help, strangely, from the Senate. But do note that I did not talk to the senator herself, just her corrupt staff members. And let me tell you, every time I have to use the Senate or Congress, any member of Congress, I hardly ever get to actually talk to the real person. I'm always talking to these damn staff members in their local offices who are probably all getting paid off by the FBI, so it never goes anywhere. But I just wanted to make a notation of that perhaps maybe if I could have gotten to, Senator Dianne herself, I probably wouldn't be making this video tonight. But anyway, this is what I call the Please Call Interpol for the Kids, the Save Adrian project. This is such a disaster on these kid situations. So now there is more than one kid. Adrian is my son. He has a half-sister, different mother. He's got a cousin with a cousin over in San Francisco, and then there are other missing kids in the same case. Now my cousins are missing up in Rochester. They have kids. It's possible that the crime ring might have, captured my cousins and taken their kids. That I'm not totally sure, but just know that there's more than just Adrian and Brooke missing. We have a lot of kids missing, a lot of legal issues, but we're going to focus on specifically on my son and little Brooke and maybe little TJ, but just know everything applies. Okay, now here's the deal with the kids. I have gotten to the bottom of this. The best thing that I can figure out, and this actually comes from just knowing the situations and the fact that Congressman Henry Cuellar down in Mission, Texas, looked into this entire case, said the only help that I was going to get was from ICE. Unfortunately, he took no steps to get a jurisdiction transfer into ICE, but apparently he said that there is a legal issue that has to do with my son. So there is a legal issue. This comes from Congressman Henry Cuellar's office. He is a congressman down in Texas, near the McAllen area. So here's a legal issue. I think they've traded the kids. I swear, I think they have wrapped the kids, pawned the kids, traded them in a plea bargain. So what happened was when I made a report to the Las Vegas FBI Homeland Security, arrested him, and he was in the North Las Vegas Detention Center without bail, and somehow he gets let go, no notice to me, the mom, no notice to anybody, shows up in family court going after my little boy, Adrian. Can you imagine a Homeland Security arrest in Las Vegas, arrested by Senior Special Agent Peter Lazaro, no bail, free and clear as a bird. I had Special Agent Peter Lazaro sitting on one side of my dining table and Detective James Mosaic sitting on the other side of my dining table going over an interview while my son was in his bedroom taking a nap. He was an infant. So that was back in 2005. So anyway, Dad, I'll never forget. Okay, so Peter Lazaro, I asked him, so now Agent Lazaro, so do you really think he's a terrorist? And I'll never forget Peter Lazaro. He was just like, well, we're not sure. Okay, so he says we're not sure in words, but his nonverbal was like, yeah, we think so. And I already had known that the case had been transferred to the counterterrorism unit of the FBI. So what we have is a really, really complex case. So dad is considered by the government to be involved in terrorism, or to be some kind of terrorist. He's out roaming the streets going after kids in the family court. Now, what these guys have apparently done is that they have figured out how to finagle the United States legal system. They come over here to the United States of America, and they somehow, they manipulate things, and they end up producing children. And what they're really trying to do is they're trying to breed a crime ring. Congressman Louis Gohmert out of Texas also knows this case, and he has done a lot of work on the concept of these guys doing it. But the trouble is that I can't get anybody to go after the kids. So this is my plea to you, the American law enforcement community, is please do something to save these kids. Because now what happened, for a number of years, all kinds of interference occurred. Anytime I tried to file for custody of my son, there was retaliation. Like, I lost my job, something happened to Adrian, we weren't getting any help, I was getting stalked and so forth. So anyway, attorney Randy Roski finally said, okay, why don't you go to Senator Harry Reid? And he said that, Harry Reid could open up a federal inquiry and everything could land in the hands of the Justice Department. So, the kid situation falls underneath this letter. Little Adrian, as a baby, and up and through, last time I saw him, he was age 4, was not placed in the U.S. Marshals Federal Witness Protection Program. The kid was not under witness protection. I'm going to say that one more time. The kid should have been placed under witness protection. He was not in it. When you're not in the Marshals WITSEC program, life's really rough. Same thing happened to Adrian's older sister, Brooke, in Southern California. She should have been in WITSEC too. Just know this letter applies to both kids. They should have been in WITSEC. Same thing with probably little TJ up there in San Francisco and a bunch of other people. So now the U.S. Department of Justice was supposed to be doing something about this. This guy is Ronald Weiss. He is the Assistant Attorney General up there in the Office of Legislative Affairs in the DOJ. Okay, well, what did he do? Absolutely nothing. He resigned from the DOJ and is apparently teaching law school in Maryland. That's just who I'd want as a law professor, somebody that, scapegoats a whole case like this. But, strangely, I met a chick down in Dallas that apparently is retired from the Pentagon. She says that Ron likes these cases, but I don't know why. I don't know why he didn't take this one, or I don't know why he left the DOJ. But anyway, so that leaves us in front of Eric Holder. What's Eric Holder done about this? Absolutely nothing. So here's what I know about the kids. Okay, both kids got assaulted. Adrian and Brooke both got assaulted. Adrian got assaulted in Las Vegas, Nevada. Clark County District Attorney never prosecuted the case. Brooke got assaulted in Orange County, California. Case never got prosecuted by the district attorney. Very, very strange. So anyway, Brooke somehow didn't end up going missing right away. Adrian went missing right after his major assault, kidnapped in crime, and I didn't even realize he was out of the country up until a couple years ago. What happened is that this letter broke, and then I got retaliated against. And I went over to John McCain's office over in Arizona, inquired about my son, and John McCain's Phoenix office said, your situation's in the jurisdiction of the State Department. And see, so I'm telling John McCain's office that I had heard in Las Vegas that my son was dead. Harry Reid's office had put me in contact with this agent, Jay Kramer, up in the FBI Office of Congressional Affairs once he got this letter and some of the other ones. This Jay Kramer, I'm telling this Jay Kramer, I'm like, I heard my son is dead. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, then I get retaliated against, I almost get killed. Las Vegas Metro Police, attorney Randy Roski, and Safe Nest, an advocate with the Safe Nest Domestic Violence Shelter, told me to get the hell out of town. I only made it to Arizona. So that's how I got to Arizona. But anyway, Senator John McCain's office says State Department. Now, there was a case open for my son with the State Department Office of Children's Issues. That case number is 97259. It was opened back in the end of May, beginning of June in 2004, right when the father first threatened to take both kids to the country of Iran. So it was done proactively, and it was done before the report was made to the Las Vegas FBI, which gives the State Department first order federal jurisdiction over the kid's case. Thank God, because if it was anything more to do with the FBI jacking everything up, these kids wouldn't have a chance in the world. So anyway, So here's what I got. The State Department initially didn't respond. I finally faxed our Office of Children's Issues this letter. And Cheyenne Ellis with the Office of Children's Issues up there in Washington, once they got it, told me that they had to figure out what airport the kids left from. So the FBI was initially saying dead, and that comes up from Washington, and then, you know, John McCain says State Department, and then I find out a year later they have to figure out what airport the kids left from. So, but now, then I was told by the State Department that I would be receiving, like, you know, a call back from one of their agents, and I would be getting, you know, some victim services for the left behind parent. Well, that never happened either. And so what I eventually did is, you know, I kept thinking I'd hear something, never heard anything. And so I decided to contact the Swiss Embassy in Tehran, Iran myself. The embassy had already had me logged in their system from back in January of 2005 when I had called them to learn more information. So the Swiss Embassy in Tehran had remembered me from calling in. And so I sent them this letter, and, you know, and I said, well, you know, Swiss Embassy, I would hate to have you, you know, scouring all around Iran, you know, in the event that the kids aren't even there. I mean, you know, that's the first suspicion, is that the kids are in Iran. And so what they told me is that they were going to contact the State Department on my behalf to advise. Now, how do you like that? Can't get any help from my own government, can't get any help from the DOJ, but I'm getting help from the Swiss Embassy in Tehran, Iran. More help than I am from the United States of America, which is, to me, is not surprising. But so then I got an email back from a State Department agent, and then she turned out to be, how should we say, I can't even say it nicely. She was not as ethical as I would have thought from the State Department. So anyway, and then afterwards I got retaliated against down in Texas by a guy that's connected into my son's disappearance, a guy named Mark Moore. He is a federal government employee, and he's one of these guys at the U.S. Department of Justice. This Eric Holder should have been managing this guy. Mark Moore, he's very, very dangerous. His best friends are FBI agents. He's military trained, U.S. Navy diver trained, and, you know, he tracks me down at Kroger's in Conroe, Texas, right after I get this email from the State Department. Oh, will help. So, you know, I mean, there's something not right with that. But anyway, back to what I was initially told, is that John McCain says State Department. So State Department means international child abduction, specifically to the country of Iran, but that is inconclusive. The kids could also be in potentially Afghanistan, based on this Mark Moore. His connections in Afghanistan could also possibly be based in Egypt, maybe even in Dubai, could actually be anywhere in the world. Iran was just the first place. The dad had threatened to take the kids, but remember, we're dealing with terrorism, we're dealing with Al-Qaeda, so the kids could actually be anywhere. So Iran is inconclusive, but State Department. Anyway, FBI, I asked them down in McAllen, do you know anything about my son? I asked him in McAllen, Texas a couple years ago. Okay, an agent looked it up in the computer, and apparently he's telling me my son is dead. I said, hold on, Mr. Nice FBI agent there in McAllen, Texas, I just don't think that that's right. So, but anyway, he was insistent. Okay, your son's dead. I'm like, John McCain says State Department. So when the McAllen FBI was telling me that my son was dead, I went back and I called Tom McCann, the staff member for Senator John McCain's office. And I said, you know, the FBI is just telling me that, you know, he's dead. Or back to, your son's dead. You're saying State Department. Did you get the other letter that says National Security Agency on there? John McCain, did you get that letter? So Tom McCann, he went scouring around the office and found this other two-Senate confirmation that says your situation is in the jurisdiction of the National Security Agency. And then somehow that clicked in Tom McCann's mind, oh my God, terrorism. And then, you know, I'm not in his state. And he said, you know, open up a Homeland Security inquiry with the Senate in Texas. See, whole different story. So we got FBI says dead. First they say State Department, then Tom McCann, a staff member for John McCain, says Homeland Security inquiry with the Senate in Texas. Well, I had called a Homeland Security agent in Texas, and apparently he knows something. I've never been able to actually set up a meeting with him to be able to figure out exactly what he knows. But just to not put him on the spot, I actually did try to get a official Homeland Security inquiry from the Senate in Texas, so then, you know, the Office of Congressional Affairs could just perhaps answer for it. And I was never able to get the Senate in Texas to get them to put it in writing. Now, if I would have been able to get them to do that, to put it in writing, it could have been very, very helpful for me to show other law enforcement, either in the United States or outside of the United States, if I had to work with, you know, any kind of country, any kind of officials, Interpol, whoever, the military, police, anybody in any other country. But I could not get the Senate in Texas to open up a Homeland Security inquiry to get it in writing, just to have that as a backup. But so Homeland Security, just know Homeland Security has a different story on the, has some story, some information on the kids. So if you want to know something, go with Homeland Security. But then we have State Department. So not dead, missing. Missing comes from the U.S. Marshals. Missing from the Marshals. State Department says they have to figure out what airport the kids left from. Homeland Security's got some other kind of story. So now, I'm just not getting anywhere. So I had tried to see what the U.S. Marshals in another state could do. Now, initially, I had asked the Marshals down in McAllen, Texas, if they could find my son, because I was going to go over and I was going to talk to the military police over in Reynosa and see if they could get my son. You know, this was a couple years ago, and they told me, don't go over there, it's so dangerous. So I'm like, okay, well, will you just get my son? Well, you know, I thought that they were getting my son. I asked him. I thought maybe they were getting my son. You know, there's a marshal up in New York. I had just talked to him about a year ago. He thought that they weren't getting my son, or, you know, aren't they already out looking for him? You know, I'm like, well, you know what? I'd have to say that based on what just happened down in Texas, all the retaliation, I almost got killed. I got kidnapped into a sex trafficking ring. All my property got taken. My computers got taken. My nursing uniforms got taken. Lots of retaliation, you know, a guy kidnapping me with a loaded gun, you know, sitting at the nightstand. So it just wasn't a very good deal. So I'm just not confident that the U.S. Marshals, at least in Texas, are getting my son. Now, intermixed in this, I did ask another U.S. Marshals office if they could get my son. Now, apparently, according to another U.S. Marshals office, they can't do anything because of U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. Now, I was up in Alaska when I got that phone call from the Marshals over on the East Coast, and I was thinking to myself, well, what the heck, dude? What am I going to do about U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder? Now I'm back to U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder and this complex legal issue and whether or not they traded the kids and all that. So, you know, it's just over and over again. It's like, you know, being thrown this way, thrown this way, thrown this way. And the trouble is, when there's crime, there's legal issues. And if the DOJ won't take the case, or if no U.S. attorney will take the case, you know, if nobody will do anything to fix the legal issues, then it probably would be very, very hard for anybody to do anything. I thought this guy down in Houston, this U.S. attorney named Ken, I thought maybe he would help me. He sent me a letter, and every time I come to his damn state, all I get is a bunch of retaliation. So I'd have to say that Ken is not going to help me, the U.S. attorney down in Houston, in that district. That district is very, very corrupt, very, very sad. I will never go back to the state of Texas. So anyway, missing kid. FBI says dead. State Department says they have to figure out what airport the kids left from. The U.S. Marshals apparently can't get the kids because of U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. If I had to make a police report, you know, one guy that actually had the Marshals get his kids up in Alaska, he said, make a police report. I'm like, this is what you want me to make a police report on. Can you imagine me making a police report on this? But anyway, that would be the police report I would make. If I had to call the police out tonight, this is what I would have to tell them. The U.S. Marshals say they can't get my son because of U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. The State Department said they had to figure out what airport the kids left from. But there's some non-follow-through by some of their agents. I don't know the status. Homeland Security has some information. I don't know the details. I face so much retaliation. So I don't really know. I haven't been able to make an appointment to figure out the details, but that is it. So then my only other thought that I could do would be to contact Interpol. So I contacted Interpol myself. I mean, I've actually hit them on the computer. I've made a report on the computer, but I actually called them in Washington, D.C. And so what Interpol told me is that a law enforcement agency has to contact them. And apparently it can be any law enforcement agency. It can be a police, it can be the sheriffs, I guess it could be Homeland Security, it could be the FBI, it could be a Marshals, you know, trooper, whoever. Somebody in law enforcement has to contact Interpol per their policies and procedures or law enforcement stuff. Even though I contacted them, you know, it's just not the way, you know, apparently they can do things. But so if somebody could contact Interpol on behalf of at least 2 missing kids, start there. One is my son, Cyrus Adrian Safavi, date of birth March 9th, 2004, missing since June of 2008 from Las Vegas, Nevada. Kid 1. Kid 2, Brooke Bahar Safavi. She is about 13. I don't have her birth date. 13, maybe 14. Last known to be alive in Las Vegas, Nevada. Their cousin TJ's over in San Francisco. And then anyway, if you could start with those 3 kids, anybody want to contact Interpol, you know, law enforcement wise, if you're a cop, if you're, you know, work for the sheriffs, if you're a trooper, whatever your level of law enforcement is, even if you're a federal guy, if you want to contact Interpol on this disaster for these kids, I mean, that would be fantastic, because I'm telling you, there's something not right, and I can't get these kids back in the traditional law enforcement fashion. And mainly that has to do with a lot of corruption out of Las Vegas, a potential legal trade of the kids, and because of U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. So anyway, hope you guys will consider that, do something, pitch in one for the kids, because, you know, they can't fend for themselves. They're minor kids. They all should have been in the Federal Witness Protection Program. They're not. If you in law enforcement can help these children, make a call into Interpol. You can reference this video, and it would actually do great things for little kids that are probably being, you know, I think every day Brooke's probably being raped, the kids are probably being beaten, they're probably being starved, you know, they're wrapped somewhere within Al-Qaeda, they're probably getting, you know, tortured, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm telling you, you could help save some kids' lives with this, because this is major stuff, major national security stuff, major terrorism stuff, so you'd be a big help to them. So anyway, that was my long video, but it's a complex case. I call it the Save Adrian Project. So if you see it on Facebook, if you go to Facebook and go to the Save Adrian Project Facebook page, please like the kids' Facebook page. They need all the help and support they can get. So anyway, that's it for tonight on Keep the Bad Guys Away. And I have a feeling after I make this video, I'm going to get a lot of retaliations. I'll have to keep my damsel in defense stun gun probably pretty much close by. Zap anybody that comes near me. But anyway, you guys have a great night, and thanks for watching this video, and thanks for taking an interest in the Save Adrian Project. I'll see you next time.